So, if you're a business owner, an ESG professional, or maybe part of a corporate CSR team, you already know the pressure to go green is mounting fast. But figuring out exactly how to buy renewable energy without completely upending your operations or your budget, yeah, that can feel completely overwhelming. Well, let's jump right into this explainer. We are going to cut straight through the jargon of India's new green energy open access framework and discover exactly what options are actually on the table for your business today.
Think of this as your strategic playbook. We'll be walking through the green power opportunity, understanding green open access, choosing your sourcing model, assessing the costs and rules, and wrapping up with a practical action checklist.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the green power opportunity.
Let's start with the elephant in the room, the problem that probably brought you here in the first place. Electricity is likely one of your largest operating costs. But beyond just the financial hit, it's also a massive chunk of your Scope 2 emissions. As climate targets become non-negotiable and buyers increasingly demand sustainable supply chains, sticking to business-as-usual power is becoming a real risk. But here's the million-dollar question. Do you still have to rely solely on the traditional grid? For a long time, if you were a smaller business, the answer was pretty much a flat yes. But wow, has a massive regulatory shift completely rewritten that playbook?
Look at this number. In 2022, India notified the Green Energy Open Access Rules, and it was an absolute game changer. The transaction threshold to purchase renewable power plummeted from 1 megawatt all the way down to just 100 kilowatts. Guys, that's a 10x reduction. Before this, buying green power directly was basically a VIP privilege reserved for giant industrial plants. Now, this lower threshold literally democratizes clean energy. It allows smaller factories, offices, and MSMEs to actively choose exactly where their power comes from.
Moving right along to Section 2, Understanding Green Open Access. Okay, so what is it? Simply put, green open access means you have the option to bypass your local discom to get your power. Instead of just accepting whatever default mix of coal and renewables your local distribution company pipes into your facility, eligible consumers can step out into the market and buy renewable power directly from a green generator. You're still using the existing grid to transport the power. It's kind of like driving on the same highway, but your financial and contractual relationship is directly with the clean energy provider. Honestly, this single sentence completely changes the dynamic of your corporate energy strategy. You do not have to rely only on your local distribution company for electricity. That unlocks incredible new possibilities, especially for MSMEs and corporate CSR teams. Whether you're trying to manage intense pressure from global clients wanting a green supply chain, or you're an ESG pro trying to hit strict internal net zero targets, having the power of choice is absolutely your greatest asset. It puts you firmly in the driver's seat of your own green transition. So, how do we actually do this? Let's get into Section 3, choosing your sourcing model. There's no magic one-size-fits-all answer here. Your first option is rooftop solar, which is fantastic, but it requires two physical realities: ample roof space, and crucially, your heavy energy consumption needs to actually match the daytime hours when the sun is shining. Makes sense? Now, if that doesn't fit, open access is often better suited for larger, more consistent loads that might run 24/7. And finally, you've got captive and group captive models. Those are typically for heavy industrial players and come with pretty strict regulatory hoops about exactly who owns the plant and how much of that power the owners actually consume. Now, keep in mind, depending on your local regulations, there might be a much simpler option on the table too: a straightforward green tariff from your discom. In this scenario, you just stay with your current distribution company, but you voluntarily pay a premium tariff. In return, the discom guarantees your share of power comes purely from renewables. It's often the easiest one to implement, but you'll definitely want to strategically weigh that premium cost against the long-term savings you could get from the other models. Time for a reality check in Section 4, Assessing Costs and Rules. Because state rules vary so widely across India, you really have to ask yourself what specific local charges and technical requirements apply to your facility. The landscape is constantly shifting. What works brilliantly in one state might run into a brick wall in another. So you always want to check current official portals before signing anything or committing your capital. Think of this as your regulatory due diligence checklist. First up, verify your actual demand pattern and sanctioned load. Your monthly unit consumption matters deeply. Then, dig into your state's open access rules. Pay super close attention to wheeling and banking charges. These are basically the tolls you pay for moving and temporarily storing your power on the grid. And definitely watch out for cross-subsidy surcharges. These are fees the state slaps on to compensate the local discom for losing your business. If those are too high in your region, they can literally wipe out the financial benefit of that cheap solar power. Finally, ensure you totally understand the contract tenure, payment security, and whether your state forces net or gross metering.
And hey, let's step away from the paperwork for a second. Don't forget the physical constraints. If you're leaning toward rooftop solar, make absolutely sure your roof has the structural strength to hold tons of heavy infrastructure for the next 20 years. Nobody wants their shiny new green energy initiative literally crashing through the ceiling. And on the legal side, thoroughly understand the exit conditions of any power purchase agreement. You need to know exactly what happens if your business moves, downsizes, or if the energy market changes out of nowhere.
All right, bringing it home with Section 5, your practical action checklist.
Grab a pen because you'll want to follow these steps closely. Step 1, pull together 12 months of electricity bills so you fully understand your seasonal patterns. Step 2, map your daytime load to see if your energy use aligns with solar hours. Step 3, use that data to directly compare the financial viability of rooftop solar versus open access for your specific building. Now pay special attention to Step 4. Always calculate the final landed cost. Do not just look at the headline tariff the green generator initially pitches you. That headline rate might look incredibly cheap, but once you add in those wheeling, banking, and cross-subsidy tolls we talked about, the real cost could be much higher. And finally, Step 5. Explicitly link this decision to your company's Scope 2 reduction targets and what your buyers are demanding from your ESG profile.
The transition to green energy isn't just a fun PR talking points anymore. For MSMEs and large corporates alike, it is rapidly becoming a hard requirement just to stay competitive and compliant. You know the threshold has dropped to 100 kilowatts, giving you unprecedented access. You know the models, and you have your checklist to safely navigate the red tape. So, as you look at your operations tomorrow morning, ask yourself, does your current energy strategy actually meet tomorrow's ESG expectations?